There are more and more people eager to learn Torah, Judaism, and the Noahide movement is growing. But the question is whether all these new Noahide groups that are growing and emerging are truly connected to the real root of Judaism, because it's true that many use Hebrew symbols, talk about Torah, but are they really connected to the root? That is, connected, for example, to the land of Israel, to the state of Israel, to Jerusalem. And the question is whether that's even important, or if it's relevant for a Noahide on the other side of the world to have a direct connection with Israel. I have the honor of having a guest, Rabbi David Shalem, who is the director of the Spanish-speaking department of the World Noahide Center, Brito, which I will leave in the description so that you can also reach the World Noahide Center and get in touch. The rabbi was born in Argentina, so his Spanish is fluent. He studied at a yeshiva called Merkaz Araf, which is one of the most prestigious centers of Jewish studies in the world. The rabbi has been teaching Judaism and Torah for more than 30 years at many institutions. He is the rabbi of the Pisgat Ze'ef neighborhood, which is one of the largest neighborhoods in the Jerusalem area. And he is the director, and this for me is the most mind-blowing part. He is the director of the Talmudic Studies department at the Merkaz Arav Yeshiva, which is the main yeshiva of what is called religious Zionism, and also one of the most prestigious in the world. So Rabbi, welcome. Let's start with that question. Why is the World Noahide Center Brit Olam so different? And if it really is so relevant that a Noahide, let's say, among the different Noahide groups, prefers one that connects him with Israel as opposed to so many other options that might exist?
First of all, good morning, good afternoon to all the participants. I thank you for your participation. Look, it's very simple. The Noahide laws were written in the Talmud, especially mainly in the tractate Sanhedrin. And those laws were given at Mount Sinai. They were explained by the sages over generations in halakhic terms, in the way of Jewish law, in Rambam's writings, and by various commentators from the medieval period. A question that needs to be asked is, why did we only find out a few years ago that we need to start a movement and say what we must say to the nations and explain what the natural law offers them? That which Judaism, through the people of Israel, offers to other human beings who are divine creatures, who have a soul that God gave them. That's what brings us justice. Why wasn't this known 500 or even 200 years ago? I saw it in Basala. And that's very simple, because my family comes from the Syrian community and everyone comes from somewhere else. And the matter is very simple. If there was no possibility for a Jew living anywhere, whether in an Islamic country or any other country, not anymore, to arrive, not even to hint or comment indirectly that Judaism has something to say to the world. Because that means a direct threat to the official law, to the official religion of each country. And that wasn't going to lead to a trial, to legal problems. No, death, the death penalty in Muslim countries. Even today, if a Muslim wants to leave Islam, they face the death penalty. And in medieval Europe, in the European era, 150 years before what is called European secularism began, a person who left did not face the death penalty in many places, especially in the Eastern Europe. Well, it means that knowing about secularism, we hid it. Knowing about the possibility that we have a cosmopolitan message, we hid it, but we hid it not because it should be that way, but because it's the only option to protect that law and not spread it and not be endangered by the world. Now, what does the land of Israel have to do with it? What's the difference between a movement not guided by the right to AM and the other movements that do exist? All are blessed by Hashem. All very well. We are very much in favor of everyone. We support each other. Anyone, we support them. They support us. We do things together. But there is still a small difference. We are a non-guided movement which is based on Zionism. That is, René Descartes, the great philosopher who revolutionized philosophy worldwide, let's say that from him came secularism and so on, all rationalism and so on. He said in a letter, the people of Israel have to return to their land. When they return to their land as an independent people and so on, then they will be able to say what they have to say to humanity. He, as a non-Jew, perceived it that way, and he's right. That is, our only opportunity to be able to give something is when we return to our land. We are in a normal situation, and there we can say what we must say now. Brito, I think it's a Zionist direction, because we see that Zionism is the return of the people of Israel to the land of Israel and becoming independent, and so on, as a project of redemption, national redemption, personal redemption, and even redemption of the world and all creations. The whole world is going to be redeemed. The Messiah is not going to fix a problem that I have with the bank. And he's not going to fix a problem that the people of Israel have either. He's going to fix a problem that the world has. Creation is that God is not tangible in this creation. He is hidden in the material creation. That's what the Messiah and Messianic era will fix in the long run, not right away. It could take time. But an essential part is the return of the people of Israel as an independent people, now that Judaism in general. The basis of Judaism in general is not that I, as an individual, fulfill certain laws or think certain things, but that the people of Israel fulfill those laws. That is to say, when God offered to give the Bible, the Torah, to the people of Israel at Mount Sinai, God did not tell Moshe, go and tell them that I now have the solution for. Living a holy life, right? He told him that you have to be, I'll say it in Hebrew and then I'll translate it, of and a holy people. That is a person who, in particular, I tell you seriously, if you want to be holy people, if you want to be people close to God, you don't need all the signs. Grow, develop, and so on. You can reach very high levels. Jewish or not Jewish? The difference is that the Torah did not come to make me a holy person or to make you a holy person. The Torah came so that there would be a holy people, and for there to be a holy people, it is only with Christ. One must
to be a kingdom
of priests, a kingdom of messengers of Hashem. A land is needed, but there is never a kingdom without land. It doesn't exist, never did, and never will. So that means if there is a kingdom on the land, and if there is land, it means there is a kingdom that takes hold of the land. That's why when the people of Israel return to the land of Israel and become independent, that's a kingdom. And that has to become a kingdom that can bring its mission to this world. That's why Brit Olam. One of the fundamental differences is the fact that we see the hand of God intervening in history, making us return to the land of Israel. And that's critical. And that's what our mission, our message is based on. The message is not on the sidelines. The land of Israel is not on the sidelines. That's where we came from. And we return to being what we are meant to be in this land.
With what you mentioned about Descartes, also Rousseau, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, the father of the Enlightenment, mentions in his book Émile that when the Jews have their own country and their universities, we will know what the Bible truly says. In fact, what you mentioned about connecting territory, nationalism, and let's say Hebrew nationalism and a universal mission is what is said to Abraham in Genesis 12. Anyone who checks will see the narrative. He tells Abraham, go to your land, I'll make you a nation, and all families of the earth will be blessed through you. It's exactly the triangle you mentioned. And here's my question, Raf. Let's say, what would happen if that weren't the case? In my opinion, if there is no connection between Noahides, that is, monotheists of the world, and Jerusalem, new religions start to emerge. However, in that case, let's say, what would be the difference if, for example, there are Jewish communities in the world that are Zionist, support Israel, and the Noahides are connected with those diaspora communities? What difference would it make if they were connected with something other than a local Jewish community? The World Noahide Center, which is in Israel, in Jerusalem, led by great rabbis, in my opinion, right? I've listened to many rabbis over the years, and those from the World Noahide Center seem truly magnificent to me. But what would be the difference? Or what would be an advantage or disadvantage if there is any?
There is a real advantage to their being in communities and being connected with them. We are not against it. Everything that is done to help people understand the mission of any non-Jewish person in this world would be very good. The thing is that it practically doesn't work, or it's going to work on a smaller scale, on a much smaller scale and much less practical. Why? Because you have to feel part of something worldwide, of a worldwide movement. You have to understand nowadays Brito Lab is the largest Noahide organization in the world. I'm not saying qualitative because qualitative can be debated, quantitative in any case. The only Noahide law book, we published it, Rav Cherky, and it's been translated into 15 languages. Nowadays, there are 12, no, 14 departments. I'm the head of the Britana department. And Baruch Hashem, blessed be God, it's quite successful. And of course, after this talk with you, Mr. Alhamar, of course, there will be a flood of people coming. They will try to get interested because he's a very well-known YouTuber and people watch his videos and so on. But honestly, I didn't believe in that. Let me explain. Personally, yes, I thought it was a very good idea, but it had nothing to do with it. I mean, I started getting involved in Brito Largo because I went to the bank. I mean, I was on my way to the bank. I don't know if you mentioned it. I was on my way to the bank and suddenly Rav Cherky showed up. Rav Cherky usually gets around by bicycle. Since all the classes are in one place, he started going from place to place by bicycle. But I'm walking to the bank when he suddenly rides by on his bike, cuts me off, just like in those Al Capone movies where they block you with a car and kill you, but he uses his bicycle and says, "Don't we know each other from years back? We studied together at yeshiva. He's the older one. I'm the short one. I really admire him." Then he said to me, "Rabbi Solen, I now declare you at this moment in charge of the Spanish-speaking department of the new Gina Brito Largo movement. See you later. They will be in touch."
He left.
He left me stranded while I was dealing with the bank. I didn't know what story I was going to tell the bank manager to explain the story about my institution's bank, just like how I do to get a loan. This guy involved me with Brito Lam. What does that have to do with me? Less than 15 minutes later, the director called. Well, he received good news that he accepted to be the director of Brito Lam's department. Hello, Manuel. We met, explained to us how.
And he told me, look, you have to make a movie every week. You have to do this. You have to do that. A lot of very small things. I
respect Rav Cherky and I say to him, this truth is the truth. I value Jose Kirchhoff a lot. He has been one of the greatest rabbis, luminaries of Torah wisdom in any way you put it. I think he's the only rabbi. I've taught Torah for over 40 years. He's the only rabbi, one of the only rabbis. Yes, the only one who can tell me, let's do a kind of boxing example. He beats me in the first round by knockout in a total rout.
That is to say,
seriously, he takes me apart. Every time I ask him a question, he gives me 3 answers, each smarter than the previous one. He leaves me. There's nothing left, Ramiro, that can leave you speechless anymore. Out of respect, I say, let's start. After a month or 2, I tell Rob Sarkis, I'm serious. People aren't interested. I'm not that good. It's not worth it. Nobody wants to hear me. So we part as friends and stay friends. No problem. The problem is that 900 people have already seen the first movie. And a whole thing started. And I felt like, on one hand, I was totally surprised by the number of people who are interested, not in me, I'm nothing, in what the Torah and Judaism can offer the wider world from Jerusalem. The first films were set in very important places in Jerusalem because they wanted us connected to the land. A biblical process is unfolding. Those of us who live in the land of Israel are going through a biblical process. If the Bible could be written today, we would write many more chapters beyond those already in the Bible. Many things less important than what is happening today are in the Bible. That is to say, this is what is happening today. It's the return to the land of Israel. And everything that is happening, especially the last war with Iran, is absolutely incredible. Seriously. It's a biblical situation, and we want to share that biblical situation with everyone. Because I think that's why God did it, so that we can say it. Okay? And you feel that especially in Jerusalem. I was with a group of friends and students in the old city. The city of Jerusalem is one of the most beautiful places in the world. Yeah.
On Juarez Street, it's beautiful.
But the amount of, and besides, there's always some kind of construction going on. It's always crowded. Suddenly I'm in the crowd, trying to reach the wall. Suddenly the people are alone. I stopped and said, stop. I addressed the students and friends saying, look, guys, I don't know if you guys realize what's happening to us right now is written in the Bible. That God is going to bring so many people, like a huge crowd of people who will flood Jerusalem. Like Jerusalem during the time when people come for the festivals, it gets full of people. We are going through a biblical process. Yes, we are crowded. There's no air. It's a disaster. We will get there. But it's incredible that we're going through it and we don't realize it. I mean, if you don't stop and say what's happening now, you don't realize that you're in a biblical session. And that's what we want to do, to share that biblical session with everyone. The Bible wasn't given by Israel. Israel was chosen to deliver this message to all humanity. These biblical sessions are meant for everyone, and that's what we strive for at Brito Gamma. That is the main difference between this and the other.
In fact, those same prophets who said that Israel would return to our land are the same ones who spoke about Israel giving that message to the nations. That's how the book of Isaiah begins for the public. Rav, I'm going to leave it to the public. For those who want to get in touch with Rav Shalem, I'll leave all the information in the video description. That way you enterarse más can take part. As Rav mentioned, this is a historic moment. If you have all these questions about how to take part in this historic moment, I'll leave it in the description so you can contact the center.
No final words. It's really up to the people. But besides that, I want to say just one more thing. That at Brito, we think that once the movement gets rolling, most people have no idea what it is. They haven't even heard of it. I believe we'll reach a critical mass in a few years. Critical mass of 1 million people worldwide, regardless of language. And when that critical mass is reached, there won't be anyone in the world who won't hear. Maybe they won't want to listen. Maybe they won't be interested, but people will already have heard about it. There will be more willingness because we have to reach that critical mass. And of course, the first ones who arrive are the ones who receive the most. That's why everyone wants to bless all the leaders of all the communities we have. In all the languages, they do an incredible job. Seriously. These are people who left their religion to receive the voice of God through the people of Israel from the land of Israel. And it's impressive, and I want to congratulate you as well for being a part of this. Video, everything you do. It's kind of like a springboard to jump even higher. So that's what we're working on. Okay?
From Santa Chef, Diego Glemos, and all the guests, we send you greetings from Israel.